Okay, welcome to this explainer. Let's just dive right in and build a science-backed toolkit to immediately regulate your nervous system. Look, we are constantly bombarded with stressors today, and honestly, it can feel like our own minds are working against us. But what if I told you that you could actually hack your biology and take back control? It's true. Today, we're going to look directly at the physiological and psychological mechanisms of anxiety, and much more importantly, how to break free from them.
I mean, we've all been there, right? Why does your brain wait until 3 a.m. to remind you of every mistake you've ever made? It is a deeply, deeply frustrating universal experience. You're exhausted, you finally lay down, and boom, suddenly your mind starts racing. You're agonizing over a mistake you made 5 years ago, or obsessing over tomorrow's presentation. And you're probably lying there thinking, is my brain broken? Well, the answer is no, absolutely not. As we'll see, this isn't some flaw in your personality, you're just caught in a biological trap. Your brain is literally doing exactly what it evolved to do.
So, Section 1, the survival mode trap. To actually understand how to stop this nighttime panic, we first have to realize that anxiety is a biological survival trait. From an evolutionary standpoint, your brain is just trying to solve a problem or address a threat to keep you alive. It's sitting there thinking, hey, if I don't prepare for tomorrow's meeting, I might get fired, kicked out of the tribe, and, starve to death. It's just trying to tie up loose ends to keep you safe. You see, our nervous system essentially has two main gears. The sympathetic nervous system is the alerting, activating response. It's your classic fight, flight, or freeze mode. Then, on the other hand, there's the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's the calming, restoring, safe part of our biology. Our ultimate goal for our mental health, really, is to trigger a parasympathetically dominant state. We want to find that calm, restorative balance. But here is the major problem. You can never tell yourself to calm down by just forcing it from the top down. I mean, think about it. If a tiger suddenly jumps out at you, you aren't going to use the logical thinking part of your brain to carefully ponder your next move, right? No way. Your deep animal brain, the limbic system, takes over instantly. And that is exactly why just telling yourself, hey, don't be anxious, literally never works. You just can't think yourself out of a deep biological survival state.
Moving on to Section 2, hacking your biology first. Since we can't access those deeper survival parts of our brain with our thoughts, the absolute best way to access calm is actually through our body. It's a bottom-up approach. We have to use physiological grounding skills to force the brain to feel safe.
Now, before we get into the specific techniques, here's a quick but super vital step. I want you to rank your anxiety on a scale of 0 to 10 before and after doing these physical exercises. Why? Well, tracking these small victories is absolutely crucial. Like, maybe your anxiety doesn't go from an 8 to a 0 immediately, but what if it goes from an 8 to a 6? Actually noticing those small drops builds your confidence and trains your brain that these tools actually work. Okay, so here is the very first tool for your new toolkit, the physiological sigh. According to neuroscience, this is the absolute fastest hardwired biological way to eliminate the stress response in real time, literally in seconds. Here's how you do it. First, take a double inhale through your nose. This reinflates the tiny little sacs in your lungs, and then you follow it with one long exhale through your mouth. That long exhale is incredibly effective at ridding your body and bloodstream of carbon dioxide, which relaxes you incredibly fast. Next up is the 5-4-3-2-1 sensory grounding method. This one is all about anchoring your body to the present moment. It's super simple. You identify 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 emotion you feel. By focusing heavily on your immediate physical senses like this, you send a powerful message of safety straight to your panicked brain. You are literally proving to your animal brain that right here, right now, in this exact moment, there is no tiger. You are perfectly safe. Now, this next one is a genuinely fascinating psychological trick derived from EMDR therapy, the eye stillness trick. See, when you're overthinking, your brain actually needs eye movements to recall memories and cycle through those anxious thought loops. So, to break the cycle, just pick a single spot in the room, lock your eyeballs onto it, and keep them completely, perfectly still. By restricting that eye movement, you essentially hit the pause button on all those racing, anxious thoughts. Crazy, right? And hey, if you're carrying a lot of physical tension from stress, you've got to try this rapid fascial maneuver. It looks a little silly, but it works. Place your thumbs gently in your ears, grab the whole ear, twist it slightly up and back, and then open your mouth wide 3 times. This simple movement releases an immense amount of stored tension in your jaw, your neck, and your head, specifically targeting the TMJ area. It provides massive physical relief in just a matter of seconds.
Which brings us to Section 3, reframing fear into excitement.
The really crucial point here is that once we've used those bottom-up techniques to physically ground the body, well, now we can finally use cognitive, top-down tools to hack the mind. Because now that the biological alarm bells are quieted down, your prefrontal cortex, your logical brain, is actually ready to listen.
And here is honestly one of the most mind-blowing facts in all of psychology. The physical symptoms of fear and the physical symptoms of excitement, the racing heart, the sweating, that big surge of cortisol, they are the exact same physical state. The only difference between fear and excitement is the label your brain applies to that agitation. If your brain says, "Oh no, we're in danger," it's fear. But if your brain says, "Wow, this is going to be amazing," it's excitement. Same exact biology, totally different experience.
So knowing that, we can use the 5-second rule to intentionally rewrite that label. Let's say panic hits. Maybe you're about to give a big presentation or board a plane. Just count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This immediately interrupts the fear loop and awakens your prefrontal cortex. Then, right after counting, insert an anchor thought. This is just a pre-planned positive image related to what you're doing. If you're terrified of flying to see family, your anchor thought could be walking on the beach with them. You literally tell yourself out loud, "I am excited to get there." Because your body is already totally agitated, your brain just buys the excuse, seamlessly switching the feeling from pure dread to genuine excitement.
All right, Section 4, Curing the 3 a.m. Mind. Let's see how all of this builds up to tackle the ultimate modern struggle, insomnia and nighttime panic. We've grounded the body, we've learned to reframe fear, but how do we stop the brain from waking us up in the dead of night just to worry? To really understand the 3 a.m. mind, we need to think about the software update metaphor. Look, throughout the day, we distract ourselves constantly, right? We've got phones, podcasts, busy work, always something. Because of this, our brain literally never gets a single chance to file away memories or process worries. The brain simply doesn't trust you to address them during your busy day. So, the exact second you close your eyes and the distractions stop, your brain goes, "Aha, finally, time to force that software update." And it just dumps all those unprocessed thoughts on you right when you're desperate to sleep.
So the solution actually isn't fighting the thoughts at night, it's changing your daytime habits. You need to proactively schedule time for your brain to process. Try setting a specific worry time, maybe around 5 p.m., where you sit and intentionally address your concerns. Or do a brain dump on paper right before you leave work or after dinner, just to get that nagging to-do list out of your head. And this one is incredibly effective. Just practice 15 minutes of pure boredom without any devices during the day. By doing this, you're basically telling your brain, "Hey, I've handled the updates. You really don't need to nag me at 3 a.m.
But look, if you still find yourself wide awake, remember that 3 a.m. worry is essentially just a biological fear of scarcity. It's the primal fear that there isn't enough, not enough safety, not enough time, or not enough resources. And the direct antidote to perceived scarcity is perceived abundance. You can trigger this by shifting your attention to simple, immediate gratitude. Just think about having a warm bed, hot running water, or a solid roof over your head. This isn't just fluffy positive thinking, guys. Focusing on these simple truths actively shuts down that fight-or-flight scarcity alarm. It signals to your body that it is safe and it's okay to sleep. Well, we've covered a ton of ground today, from the physiological side all the way to reframing your brain's internal labels. Remember, your anxiety is not a life sentence, and your brain definitely isn't broken. It's just a finely tuned survival machine that occasionally needs a manual override. So I'll leave you with this final thought. If fear and excitement are exactly the same physical state, what will you choose to be excited about tomorrow? It's time to stop fighting your biology, start using this toolkit, and confidently reclaim your mind. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.